Just 5 kilometres from the CBD, Port Melbourne was once a suburb that housed Melbourne's shipping workers. Today, Port Melbourne is a diverse and historic area. From the industrial and port areas along the Yarra to open parklands and bayside beaches, it's popular for its exclusive apartments and bay streets, restaurants and cafes. Frank, you've been selling real estate in Port Melbourne for 40 years. What was it like when you started here?
Well, I was a pioneer actually, Des. I was the first person to put crepe paper up in the front window, get the Polaroid photograph and pin it to that crepe paper and change it every couple of weeks. Probably the quantum leap was the last 10 years when the suburb went to high density, you know, with 8-storey apartments being built and just a totally new demographic of people that are being accommodated by these new apartments. We're finding that nowadays we've got a lot of retirees that are coming down here, moving from the empty nest, you know, the outer suburbs. As affordability has been shifting around, and the great thing is in recent times, the last couple of years, affordability started to come back into the market. What we've found, a lot of parents have been coming down and helping their kids out. They're looking at the share market, they're looking at their superannuation, they're saying, well, look, why don't we help the kids now? Real estate's been good to us, let's help them into the market. So they're often coming in on the Saturday morning when they're doing the sign up and just putting a little bit of something in behind to get the kids started off. Great thing. I think as far as the rentals, we're finding that the CBD workers, corporate couples, they love to lease in Port Melbourne. They just adore the lifestyle. And most young people now are looking for a bit of fitness. They like the beach, they like the restaurants. That whole sort of vibe that we've got down here where you can do everything locally is really appealing to the city workers. They're pretty tired by the time they get home about 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and everything's here right on their footsteps, plus the beach in summer.
What's your money going to buy you in Port Melbourne?
One of the things that I've found is that if you picked up the phone and you said, what have you got in a 2-bedroom apartment, the prices are all over the place. If it's got a water view, you're talking, let's say, 125 square metres, you could be talking $1.2 million. Whereas if you're a 2-bedroom flat in one of the old 1970s six-packs, you could be talking $400,000. So it's a very, very mixed market. But I'll give you a rundown. Generally speaking, your Victorian cottages are around $750. If they've been done up and they've gone 2-storey, they're just over the mil mark, 1.2. As far as the apartments, 1-bedrooms are running out at probably around 400. 2-bedroom, probably running out into the 5s. With a second bathroom, 2 cars, you're probably looking closer to the 7. Now, if you want something that ticks all the boxes, we're talking waterfront, couple of car parks, 135 square metres, you'll get no change out of $1.2 million down here.
There was a time when the suburb of Port Melbourne was dotted with studios and film production houses, but not anymore. There are a few remaining ones though, like the Film Hub here in Knott Street, which has been involved with many of Australia's favourite TV shows and feature films.
We made our first film here about 98 in that little office there. There was 4 of us jammed in that office. A few years later we made a film called Strange Bedfellows, which did very well. And on the basis of that, we wanted to build something a bit bigger. And at the time, we wanted to renovate the building, and the current owner at the time, Bob Weiss, had recently sold the building then, and Bob had owned it for 20, 30 years. And at that time, this was all factories. There were film buildings across the road, film building next door. I think the Glen Rowan pub scene from Ned Kelly was shot there. We had a photographic studio. There were studios all around there. All apartments now, but at the time we wanted to do it, and the owner at the time didn't want us to. They wanted to probably sell it and build apartments. We moved out for a year or so, and then we moved back, and we've been here for about 8 years. And the way we moved back was we went out to a whole lot of people that we worked with, so sound designers, sound editors, production designers, and people who were involved primarily in the post-production side of the films and the movies that we'd made. We went round to the people that we liked working with, said, if we build a space for you at your specs, will you move? And so people all moved in, and we kind of joke it's a corporate co-op, but it kind of is. So everyone runs their own business, but we share work and contacts and the frustrations of the industry. And it's great because the building's probably the longest running constant film building in Victoria. You know, other buildings have come and gone and moved around, but this has stayed as a film building for 30, 40 years. So we're pretty proud of that. And with the digitisation of filmmaking and stuff, it's a really interesting time. Our last film we did entirely out of this building, from script to distributing it online, and everything in between. So we've got lots of different things happening. There's lots of different interesting companies here who do a whole range of things, and so it's an interesting time for the film.
Big and Scott's David Lack.
David, we're down in Beacon Cove. I guess we call this apartment living down here, do we, or townhouse living?
Townhouse living.
Yep, very popular in Port Melbourne.
Very popular. It's one of those things that's become more popular over time. Developed in 1997. We've seen it become more popular with different groups of people. So we had a lot of empty nesters come into the marketplace, and then as prices rose in the older parts of Port Melbourne, we had an influx of younger buyers and family buyers, and we're seeing a resurgence again of empty nesters back into the area, and that's all in the space of 15 years, so it's been quite interesting.
And townhouses, I guess, for people who want a decent-sized property but don't really want the backyard or a huge block.
Well, that's right. I mean, people are, time poor these days, and they still want the lifestyle options that Port Melbourne have to offer, being close to the water and close to the city. And it makes sense to purchase a townhouse where there's little maintenance. Yes, there might be some painting and gardening required, but certainly not the upkeep that you need to put into a 100-year-old house.
Behind you is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom property. What would something like this be going for down here in Beacon Cove?
4 Canberra Mews is what we would consider entry level for Beacon Cove. We're asking 1.15. Slightly larger homes have sold for as much as 1.4, and the larger 4-bedroom homes have sold for as much as just over 3 million.
What continues to draw people to Port Melbourne, David?
I think the cosmopolitan atmosphere that we have down in Bay Street. It's gone ahead in leaps and bounds, and it seems like every second week we've got a new cafe serving even better coffee than the last place. But also we've got terrific amenities and facilities. We've probably got more parks than pretty much any other suburb in Melbourne. Of course, we're close to Port Phillip's biggest bay playground, being the beach. And we're only a hop, skip and a jump to the light rail, which will have you in Etihad Stadium in about 8 minutes flat.
Very good, that light rail, isn't it?
Oh, it's terrific. I just live around the corner, and I tell you what, why would you bother when you can just jump on the tram?